All right, hopefully everybody in internet link. Speaking of,
This is Josie. Okay, I got it.
and then Mark the next meeting. I just yelled them out. So we need that door open for us. So we can get other speakers in here. I'm gonna start going through the whatever this announcement panel is. Brian, come here. You're on the spot too, buddy. All right, so this is Brian Balthazar. He's our secretary. Jake is doing 6 months of training in the Air Force. He will not be here. Matt is on vacation with his family in Florida. Sends his apologies. Wishes he could be here, but he is not here. So my loud mouth is going to hopefully steer this in the right direction. Tonight's the private money panel. Everybody sitting here is either a hard money lender, private money lender, whatever you want to call it, or an attorney. Steve Peterson is here to make sure we don't say anything stupid that'll get him in trouble. Which has never happened in history. We swear we've never said anything dumb. No, that's not true. All right. Anyway, once we get everybody in here, we're going to do some announcements, and then we're going to kick off the panel and. So we're going to start with this part. REIA is a member of National REIA. So membership in REIA includes your membership with National REIA. Why does that matter? Because of all the cool discounts and rebates that you get. And we're launching officially right now. We are doing a free tier of membership for anybody who is not a paid member. However, the only things that come with that free membership are the discounts and rebates through the National REIA affiliation. And the 2% cashback rebate from Home Depot. It is the 20% off on paints and stains in the Home Depot. And then there's a laundry list of other vendors that give discounts and rebates and incentives to use their stuff through the national program. The local meeting, this meeting, coffee club, rock fire will stay free. If you are not a paid member, you will pay to go to housing provider support, and you will pay to go to Aries meetings. That is the change. So if you want to go to alternate investing, or you want to go to housing provider support meetings with Carl and Matt and with Bob and Pat, you will have to pay $20 when you walk in the door at that meeting. That's the shift. But we're looking to create a bigger tent and bring in all the other networking groups in Rochester, participate with REIA, and try and make sure that people are getting the content they want to see. So we had to change things up a little bit. As you know, Matt Gruen is our new president. Brian came in and agreed to be our secretary. Jake moved from secretary up to VP, and then Marlene is still doing our treasurer role. All of them are very active full-time investors. Brian invests, but he also runs a machine shop, which is super weird to me, but whatever, no power to him. He's not an entrepreneur. You want to talk to him about it after the meeting, great. This meeting here is specifically second Thursday, 7 p.m. is the actual official kickoff. And then we do networking from 5 o'clock. We don't care. Food's on us, drinks are on you. That's how it works. On the website, we've also updated the calendar. You go to the website, you navigate to the calendar. Every real estate event in Rochester is posted, even if it's not a REIA event. Everything. So if you want to do real estate networking, this is the hub to find what you want to do. So find some properties, it's a motel run is on there. Marty's meeting that's coming up next Wednesday is on there. Check it, go when you have time. What else? Am I missing something? Anybody who's a vendor you want to speak? I think we had somebody from JM, but I don't know if you can hear me. All right, he's not going to speak. Good. Perfect. We're going to move on. Yeah. All right. Did everybody sign in? Give it a name tag. Cool.
I don't think we had to.
We're gonna, if not, we're glad you're here. Like and follow us on the social media garbage. We can put that back up at the end of the meeting. When you join as a free member or paid member, you will get an email that will say your membership is confirmed. There's a link to how to sign up to the Home Depot rebate. It walks you through step by step with screenshots and circle things to make sure you can't screw it up. If you still need help, we will help you. Reach out to Dee, reach out to myself, reach out to Brian, we will figure it out and we will get you a link. Housing provider support meeting. You don't know what that is. These are the four beautiful faces of the people who run that for us. There's two different meetings, one in the morning, one in the evening. They're 2 weeks apart from each other to make sure we can cover as many people as we need. Anybody who's interested is welcome to come. You get to go one or two of these if you're not a member. For next meeting, alternate investing strategies. This is for everything that's not tenants and toilets. So if you want to be a hard money, private money lender like these people behind me, if you want to get involved in any type of storage, wholesaling, anything that's not renting living units to people, that's where you go. Right now, it's two times per month. Again, morning and evening. This handsome gentleman right here is one of the guys who runs it. He's probably the busiest wholesaler in Rochester, but he doesn't like me to say that because it embarrasses him. And if you don't know Joe Barry, you need to before you leave tonight. Well, Scott's not here and he's taking the meeting. His picture is there. It's a very professional headshot that we have done. I don't know where he is. He's traveling. I think he's in the Key, right? He's in Key West right now, living the life of a real estate investor. So more power to him. Coffee Club. This gentleman right here on the panel, Greg Taylor, John Boychek, 7:30 in the morning over at
New City Cafe.
New City Cafe. Thank you. Over on Parcells. 7:30 every Tuesday. Every Tuesday. Rockwire. Kayla and Becca run it. I don't know if Becca's here. I know Kayla's in Texas. First or second Wednesday. I don't know if it happened this week or if it's happening. Was it last night? Awesome. All right, great. Done. And then, hey, look at that guy. It's right there. It's freaking sweet. Upstate investors, when's that meeting? And I don't see Mark.
This month, 22nd.
So the 22nd, where is it gonna be?
Airport.
Perfect. Fairport Brewing, 22nd, what time?
6:30 p.m.
All right. Great. And that one's just casual networking, that one's free.
That one.
University, okay.
Yep, the one in the city at university, yeah, very casual.
Fairport Brewing University.
Very casual, no structures, totally open networking.
Yep. All right, so here's the advocacy corner, and this is where the stuff gets really ugly. I don't know how up to date this is, or if Jake worked on this. Anybody who doesn't know, they're looking to actually ban short-term rentals in Rochester. Last month, we had Jose and Mike Patterson here from City Council to talk to everybody about what was going on in that. They took back a lot of really good feedback for their position, but we didn't get everybody, and we need to, and they need to understand that this is going to be a real issue for investors in the city. Taylor Dalton and Taylor Tortone are both helping out to organize REIA and other real estate groups in the city. They're trying to push back on the zoning because it's not really going to the council. They're going to try to zone this out for regulation without anybody having to vote. So this is one of those unaccountable government offices that really does whatever they want to do and force everybody else to deal with it after. This is still on here. Last year, we got good cause eviction banned in Rochester. Basically, we forced them to vote on it. It failed, and they're not allowed to bring it back up again. Not stopping the state from trying to bring good cause eviction back, but it did stop it in the city. So that was a win for us. And hopefully we don't see that come up at a city or county level again. Jake Thorpe is down in Texas, like I said, doing some stuff in the Air Force in the next 6 months. He's our vice president, the Belmont advocacy leader. Send him an email anytime after 4 Central, he'll be able to respond. His email address is vp@rea.org. Super easy. New York State, couple notes there. ERAP is closed. That means that no more endless series of eviction proceedings being adjourned for ERAP applications. The money's gone. They realize that it's gonna be what it is. There's still checks arriving, so people from September, October, they had applied, last year, 2 years ago. You could still see money come in, but the money is officially dried up. Here's our disclaimer. We don't actually give you advice. We expose you to different ideas. You choose to use it, it's at your own risk. Talk to your spouse, your lawyer, your CPA, your dog, I don't care. It's not on us, it's on you to do your due diligence. This is just a discussion about how other people are running their business. It's not going to be right for you just because it works for them. Did I do that well, Steve?
Perfect.
All right, great. Gotta ask the attorney every single time, right? Do we have any vendors in the room that want to say anything? Guess not. All right, perfect. Moving on. Private money lending panel. This is where I'll turn it over to Brian because he's got the Q&A and all the other fun stuff.
All right, so thank you guys for all coming. We start with just a quick introduction. You guys all want to just take 30 seconds and just say a 30-second introduction. And
We try to get everybody
you
to
must
speak
start
in
with
once they hear about it, and we're gonna-
Michelle Wheeler, private money lender, real estate broker, retired property manager. I do private lending for our own personal funds through our self-directed IRA. And I also do cooperative lending where I bring borrowers and lenders together.
Steve Peterson, attorney. I represent a lot of hard money lenders that lend money, do a lot of closings, do Mark's closings, represent a lot of the people in the room. I work with my nephew who also does this stuff, although I think I like representing investors better than he likes representing investors. We can close just about anything you can buy.
I'm Mark Kaminsky. I've been part of REIA since 2014. Started doing different real estate projects. I have no, letters behind my name. I got into hard money lending. And so it's more on a personal note. I have 15 projects going now. We typically have between 10 and 12. And they're typically 1 to 4 units. One of the things we do is we have experienced people that just keep coming back to us, but we're also working with a couple of new people. And so if you are new and you want to just chat about things, we take a sort of a different approach because we can help you decide, what you really are looking for. And then when you have an area where you need help on your skill set, we can point you in that right direction. Just, you don't need to work with us. We have a lot of business, and that's basically it.
I'm Greg Taylor. Been investing for over 40 years, never really large portfolios, but over the long spell. Because of REIA, I became a private lender. Joe McGuire helped me get started. Steve Peterson's office and Mike Lees in his office are my attorneys. I'm also a realtor. As a realtor, I'll sell homes locally. I'll help local buyers, but my niche is to help people who want to get away from New York State. I'm building in a previous life, I was known as Sir Link-a-Lot. I was one of the first people to master LinkedIn. And so I've always been a networker. So I'm building a large national network of realtors far and wide in areas that you might want an introduction to a top-notch realtor in another marketplace.
Excuse me, I'm Joe McGuire. I am not a hard money lender. I'm a private lender. And probably the difference from Michelle's sheet is that hard money is, I do ask some questions. But I started back a long time ago, and it was at the time actually it was cash flow. We had to structure deals that made sense for cash flow. So I'm more on an individual basis. how can I make this work? How can this thing be done? If it can be done, but I'm more of a private, I'm more private period, but I'm more of a private lender. I do want to know something about the people more than just the property.
So we've got, I think all of you guys have a packet, Michelle took the time to type up. She answered some questions in here, but we also have some questions off Facebook and some questions people submitted besides that. So we'll start off with just a couple.
And I'm going to warn you right now, if you get off topic and you start rambling about your specific situation. I will shut you down. You will handle it offline during the circumstances. Hold off until the end of this. Thank you.
So on that note, we'll start off with just very basic. Why do people use hard money? What over your own money over other money?
Anybody go start? Go ahead.
Yeah, however, just
Well, people come to us because the banks will lend them money on a property that's not rented. And so they've got their money locked up, or they don't have, money to do a project. So they come to us. The other reason they come to us is we can get money fast. Average 24, 48, 72 hours. Now, having said that, the project, you have to be vetted with the lender. The lender has to vet the project, okay, make sure that you know what you're doing. It's a good project. We go through that, with you, hook you up with people. And then once that's all set, then if there's a closing that has to happen, or you need money quickly, most of us here can get money to you within that, several days time frame. And that's why people come to us. I have people that have stuck, on a property with me, because 10 to 16%. Most of mine are around 12, around the average right now. And we charge for that, but your project typically is going to go, pre-COVID is close to a year for the average project. But if you look at that, we look for, when we vet the project with you, we look for a minimum 30% spread. Because one, we don't want you to get into trouble, and we don't want to have to be, dealing with the problem. In 14 years, I've had one problem, never lost any money, and the person is paid me back all my principal and is paying back interest on the side, as we go along. Because sometimes problems happen to good people. That's life. That's why we're, in here. There is a risk to it.
Real quickly too, there's a few other reasons why somebody might use a private lender. Gives them the ability to write an offer as a cash transaction. Gives them an opportunity to buy a property just distressed, fix it up, and then when they refinance it, they're able to get a higher appraisal number and then a higher loan amount and be able to recapture their purchase price and rehab. So that's just a couple of other reasons.
It can also happen significantly faster than if there's a bank involved. First, the bank asks for crazy stuff, but then the bank attorneys representing commercial lenders can drive you insane. Whereas it probably takes 6 or 7 pieces of paper and I can get a transaction closed for a hard money lender.
Which is very important if you're dealing with like a HUD property or something like that has stipulations on when the deal has to be closed. And I work with Steve primarily, and he's very good, thorough, fast.
So our next question is something that's a little bit different for every lender, but what type of properties do you lend on, and what do you look for when you lend?
One of the things I do is none of us know that we're going to get home safely. And if I'm working with a flipper or in a neighborhood that I would want to be in, that's important to me. And none of us are guaranteed tomorrow, so I want to make sure that that's critical to me.
And,
I
and obviously
typically
people
see
have to have enough money in the pot themselves to make it worthwhile, that if the money doesn't get repaid, that the lender hasn't lost any money if the property gets sold. Taking into account that if you're not making your mortgage payments, if you're unable to pay the hard money lender, you probably haven't paid the taxes. Maybe you haven't paid some of the other bills, maybe there's mechanics liens. So you always have to make sure as a hard money person that there's enough in the pot that the borrower has put down or is about to put down in doing rehab.
Yeah, from our point of view, communication is key, quick communication. So we try to avoid getting to that stage. So if there's an issue, then we would help you. You'd come to us as a business partner. We would help you try to work through it so it doesn't get to that stage. Some people pay interest monthly with us. Usually they're making money that's half rented or something, and some people don't. Our take on where the property is depends on who's rehabbing it. So if you're a new investor or a new flipper, okay, and you've taken a project that's a total gut. Okay, we're probably not going to, want to lend money to that project. We would lend money to something that's more of a medium or lighter rehab going in your first time. That helps you out and it helps us out. And so we have properties all over the place in the suburbs, down in the hood. But the people that are working on our properties or on their properties with our money in the hood are experts at what they're doing, or they're very experienced anyways. You had a question?
What percentage are we talking about as far as the investor has to hand it to himself?
Well, everybody likes skin in the game. We have people that have no skin in the game except their expertise. Okay, we have people, if you have some money, like let's say the deal is 80 grand and you can put down 5 or 10 or whatever, that's great because the investor, the lender is going to feel more comfortable with that. We feel that you're going to put in your blood, sweat, time and tears. So you're going to be vested in it anyway. And we're going to vet you, to make sure that you're serious about the project. Okay, so you're going to have that kind of amount invested, but that varies upon the deal. Some lenders want more skin in the game than others. We're fairly flexible on that point.
I think it depends on the equity in the property as well.
All right, next, so the next two questions, it's about interest rate and fees, covered a little bit, interest rate and fees, the loan term, and then the curveball, what if it doesn't go as planned? What if you're coming up on the end of your term, or what if you run out of money, or any of the uncertainties that come into
For sure, start with interest rates and fees, because at least at least one person in this room is going to ask, well, the Fed just raised their rates. Did you raise your rates? The answer is going to be yes. Money got more expensive. It's no longer free. Take it.
I think in Rochester overall, the average is between 8% and 16%. I don't think many people are charging 8% anymore unless there's a lot of points involved. And points are a percentage of the loan that is generally paid in advance or at the end of the loan as part of the transaction. On average, I'd say between 10 and 14%.
Yeah, our experience is if you have a relative that has some, money set aside, it's not a real lender, it's not a professional lender like we are, then they might charge you 8% or something, but the professional lenders, in my experience, are going to be more in that 12%. We personally don't charge points unless there's a reason, there's some kind of expense we have to cover. Okay, for that, we lend out of 3 different pots of money. I lend out of personal funds. I lend out of a self-directed IRA, which if you have IRA money, you want to talk to people about getting a self-directed IRA and use some of that money for yourselves. And then I also borrow money at the bank. I'm one of the people that my bank will actually loan me money to lend out. And as Michelle said, you know, that as the rates have gone up 4%. For borrowers, if you go to a bank now. So that would be reflected in the project if we were funding out of that pot of money. So that's why you might see a difference or a spread.
And don't shy away from points, because if we look at a 12-month term, a loan that's 10% in 2 points at the end of 12 months is the same as a 12% loan. So it's just, sometimes they're just structured differently, and some lenders want that money up front in points. That's kind of some of the skin in the game. And then some just charge straight interest rate.
When I got started, to attract borrowers, I did not charge any points. And, as I advanced, what I did is I've changed my philosophy now. What I do is I charge points on your first loan with me. And if you keep my money in motion, you're closing out your loan, you're giving me a 60-day notice, like I'm gonna pay this off in August. All right, you're gonna get your next flip ready. All right, then I'm not gonna charge you points because you're gonna keep the money working for me. And if you go an extended period with, you don't have it, I might pick up a point the next time. I've got one borrower now who I've got 3 continually improves himself. You're gonna be building relationship. And communicate, price your bank, you say you're gonna do.
I do both. Sometimes I charge points, sometimes I don't. It really depends on the deal. As I said, when I started, and just to cover the cost of capital, right? There's still, no matter what it is, there's always a cost of capital, and then there needs to be a spread on top of it. So, but I structure different ways depending on what the people need, and what the deal needs. You know, what does this transaction need? So unfortunately, a lot of my answers are similar to what you're. Unfortunately, a lot of my answers are similar to what your favorite attorney will say. It depends. And, everything depends really on the people and on the deal.
When it comes to points, there are also some organizations now, some individuals that are not lending their own money. They're setting up deals where they're lending some of their friends and clients' money. So you're paying 12% interest to the people lending the money, and you're paying 1 or 2 points to the people that set up the deal.
Going off of the communication and like relationship building, what are you looking for in the borrower in terms of type of
Question. Great question.
It depends on
that actually
everything,
right
yeah.
into the next question. So to elaborate even more, everything in general, do you require documentation wise or in your screening process? Let's just go right into that.
Actually, maybe if you said, you answer the question, like, what are like the minimum qualifications? It's probably a better place to start. The numbers have to work under the, there.
Right.
That's the first minimum qualification.
For me, it usually starts with face-to-face or an email. Who are you? What are you looking to do? What's your experience? Do you have a team in place? If you're brand new, do you have a team in place? What research have you done? What types of deals are you looking for? We want to make sure, I mean, if you're an experienced person. Obviously, you've done it before, you already have some strategies. If you're brand new, we want to know, what planning you've done, who do you have on your team? I mean, I think each individual lender is going to have different criteria, but we want to make sure that the borrower can get the deal done and that the property is worth what you're paying for it, and you'll be able to refinance it or sell it for whatever it is that is in your plan.
Yeah, I think we're looking for honesty and seriousness. Are you not only serious, but are you going to be able to follow through? So we're going to assess your character in just a general sense, and once that's set, for at least on my end, if you lack a skill, we will try to help set you up with someone who won't charge you, and they'll, like, let's say you need a contractor, or let's say it's our first deal and we're not sure you can assess that property and you've got a plan. So we would call up somebody that we know, and he'd go over there with you and take a look at the property and your plan real quickly. And he would say, yeah, this works or this doesn't. So you don't have to know everything in the business. That's one of the beauties of REIA, because I didn't know it when I started. But you have to have a willingness and a seriousness. So we know that when we enter in with you in there, that there's going to be a good, a good result for you and for us. So, and that's why it's good. If you run into a problem, communicate that. Okay, because good problems happen to good people. Okay. And that's what we look at. We look at credit. So we would want a decent credit score. And you could just give us a picture on your cell phone, what your credit score is. Okay. Chances are, if the bank isn't going to lend you money, we probably aren't going to lend you money either. If you're working yourself out of a hole that deep, you got to work on it first. If you have other resources, you want to either resources in terms of skills. I work with people who are contractors, that can chip in. They if they need to, on the project. We work with people who have skill sets in other different areas and where they don't. We need to make sure that you have that team put together. So if you need a roof, you can get a decent roof on the house that's not going to break the plan. And we would help most of the people up here to be able to help you with that. So think of us, we're very different than banks. The banks isn't going to help you with it. Okay. So this is our hard-earned money. Okay. All right. And so when we're in this relationship with you, we're gonna help you out. Right.
We want you to be successful. We don't want to take your house back. We want to see you successful and do it again and again and again.
Yeah, because Steve will write the mortgage and you'll be personally guaranteeing that money. That's why he's my buddy.
And he's much nicer than I am when someone is in trouble. He does work with the one he was talking about. I would have done things differently than he's doing over the years.
Your credit score does 816%. Does your credit score, is that?
Ours doesn't.
Can I answer that question? In my case, I mean, I don't know what they do. In my case, no.
No.
I don't think with most.
I think if you were a borrower that had multiple foreclosures and things that were housing related, you would be a higher risk than if you had maybe medical issues or student loans or something. It's really just dependent on what the issues are with the credit.
Yeah, it's the way I look at it is, I'm like, what is the probability I'm going to get my money back without a major fight? It's, I'm not looking, I'm a passive lender. I'm not looking for trouble. I'm not looking for your house. I've owned a number of houses. They're very nice, all of this. I don't love them. I don't want the house. All I want to do is have a nice transaction where everybody is happy at the end. So I do look at, I do consider credit. I don't consider a score. I've lent to people that banks have turned down for, I think, absolutely stupid reasons because of credit. And I thought they were good people and everything is fine, it's, things happen, there are stories. See, when I learned, they didn't have credit score, back when I started. We actually had to read the credit report and understand it. So, that was my background. We had to understand a lot of these things, so that was it. It's, a credit score is nuts. I mean, I'm all for it. You want a high credit score, absolutely. But, it's awesome. It is, I'm sorry, Michelle had said somebody, actually, I turned down somebody. He had all kinds of, I know, all kinds of experience, all kind of whatever. I know he was gonna make money with the project, absolutely. He, in my mind, he was way too comfortable with foreclosure and with bankruptcy. And I was saying, just not worth it to me. So I passed on it.
So let's, another question we have is, let's elaborate a little more on what the buyer brings to the deal. And this could be different for whether it's a first time buyer or an experienced buyer, but what exactly does a buyer bring to the deal in terms of a personal guarantee, collateral, down payments, equity in a deal, everything in a couple different ways for.
Well, at the closing, we sign a note and a mortgage. And every note that we do is personally guaranteed by the person in the deal. So that you're not relying on an LLC or a corporation to make the payments. You're relying on the person that's in the deal, even though 99% of the closings that we do are with an LLC as the borrower, but right in our promissory note, we put that so-and-so personally guarantees the mortgage. So to me, that's not even negotiable. I had a deal earlier this week where people did not have my client personally guarantee the mortgage, and I just thought it was bizarre.
I always take a personal guarantee, except. Always the exception, always it depends. If I'm lending to somebody that's putting the property in their IRA, the IRA is not allowed to have a personal guarantee. So that I would do just the property. But it's also with a substantial down.
Is that a down payment, is that their IRA or,
I'm sorry?
so if their down payment is from their IRA, can they?
Oh, of course, yeah, I don't care. I'm talking, they're taking the title in their, the IRA is the borrower.
So it's using either Quest or Equity Trust, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If they're money lending through their self-directed IRA, like I do, like Michelle does, like Scott Spear does, then that particular mechanism, there's no PG, and most of the time they can't be sued either in different times. So you can't sue an IRA, you can't sue Roth.
No,
It's a separate, insulated out.
But you do have to be careful. If you use your IRA for a project, you can't personally be doing any work on the project. Okay, so there are stipulations.
but you can still lend, try to.
You can lend it, yeah.
Yeah, an IRA can lend money all day long. An IRA can purchase property all day long. But if the IRA is purchasing property and also using the capital purchase, that's where the IRA cannot, you can have personal guarantee. This is my understanding. I'm not the attorney.
I think that's true.
So, but that's what I've done in many cases.
In terms of down payment equity, we touched on it a little bit before, but you're looking for a certain percentage of what the ARV is, what the repair value of the property
Yeah,
is.
we don't have any percentage down payments. We have some people that we fund the purchase price, we fund the rehab price. If you're not making any money on the deal till it's sold, we don't, I think that's why people like us, because we don't require anything from you. However, if you come in and you got $5,000 or whatever, that certainly looks good for us. We probably, I think it's just worked out the numbers, we'll probably fund 1 out of 3 deals that come into us. Okay, and there's a lot of business out there, so we're not looking, I'm not personally looking for business. From you. And basically that's what we're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 questions.
Actually, that's one thing I want to ask about people who don't have experience in their game. And I mean, the fear for why I want to do this problem. I want to get it pretty happy, but I don't want to know how to assess. People who is happy, those kind of things. So if I borrow, I need that from the borrower 2 years ago for another house. Still close for me and other people to give me. I stopped 1 house and then I put another one. I financed that same time and this didn't come back. So I'm moving. What we do with him, how to find it, borrow and give me.
Yeah, so I'll touch on that a little bit. That's what stuff like this, we've got everybody and anybody in the industry who can help you do that type of stuff here, so. And everybody and anybody else along the way, from buying, rehabbing, management, selling, everything is all right here. But then when it comes to private lenders stuff, I know Mark is very good about kind of coaching through, and he's very hands-on with his deals and the way he helps you. And I'll let you guys touch. I don't know if that's a question for lenders or more for a general question.
It's all about building your team, building your knowledge, and building your network. I mean, we don't want to do all the work for you. But we're here to help you if there's pieces that are missing.
Yeah, that's what I want to hold you like honest with. Or so long as you
And that's what FREIA is about as well. There's
I want to find the honest person, what is right, with the bar, who is paying, who I we have from all of us benefit from that one. Make sure.
Yeah.
That's my.
Yeah, my experience is that when I first came to FREIA, before I did anything, I took a whole year going to things, talking to people, and and he brought something to the table, and I still work with him. He's the guy out in the Key West right now.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott.
But what about, I have few property that three, I pay already. How I do that, we have time. How I use my equity to have. How I want for the bank, to finance.
You have equity in your house? Yeah, you would get a home, equity a loan, and you could use that. Okay, just beware now, home equity loans, the rates on them are about 7.2% right now, because of the feds, they're gonna come down. But the rates have gone up. So you can go to the bank, you have to pay a closing. Okay, but go talk to your bank. Canandaigua has a reputation out there to be good working with people. So I deal with Chase, but I've had a 30-year relationship with them. Okay, there are some smaller banks out there like Castile and Warsaw. Lions.
Question. So you said that, usually when people, like the amount of what the property is worth
Mhm.
at a time. So if you have a scenario, you have a distressed property, it's worth, 70,000, find a distressed property for 70,000. And you need to, like, rehab, I would say 100,000. And, as someone or one of us, have a difference of money, would you be able to lend more? And what?
So if you're able to purchase the property for less than what it's worth, there's a difference between value of the property today and after repair value.
Okay,
So if you're buying a property today for 70,000 and it's only worth 70,000, we're most likely not going to fund your rehab. But if you're buying property today for 70,000, that you got it for a deal, you got it from a wholesaler or if we had to take that property back and we just need to be able to sell it for what we're loaning on it.
Yeah.
Right.
This also brings up a good point about when you're gonna. Person, but let's say it's a total rehab and you're buying it for 30. Well, we're probably not going to give you that 70,000 because we want that money working on our project. Okay. And we don't want it pooled. So we would do a draw. Okay. And we can do it either through Steve. I've done draws through him, or just when you show us, okay, this contractor did this amount. So I paid him for this. Now I need another 10 grand to go forward, and that we can usually get out to you in a day.
So basically step by step.
Step by step. Yeah, you pay interest on the whole amount up front, but we give it to you as you need it. That helps you control the cost of where the money is coming from and what project to use it on. Yeah. And I would say also you want to keep your term. Most of us, I think, just charge simple interest. So you want to make sure that you're not being confused about mortgages and notes. You should be able to you've got enough to do with your projects. You should be able to, have a real quick assessment of, what that's costing you right up front. That's why we don't amortize interest or anything like that.
So simple interest, if it's $100,000 loan at 12%, you're gonna pay him back 112.
Yeah, for a year. Yeah,
For a year.
yeah, for a year. Yeah.
Simple interest.
Yeah, and some people charge prepayment penalties. We don't do that because we don't really run into that. I think, most people take, by the time you close and everything, it's 4 or 5 months at best. And now that's gone out to more like 9-12 months. So we don't charge the prepayment penalties, but sometimes people do. I have people that come up to me and want me to put that in there. I have people, people borrowers that will come out and say, no, I want you to put in a prepayment penalty.
And the eight.
I've done.
Start with that. Yeah.
It depends, short term, long term. But, I've charged them, I haven't charged them, and I'm not sure quite what market meant. I've done a lot of draws. But the draw is, the property is, I look at the property and the work that was supposed to be done is done, so the property is worth more. I'm not particularly gonna give you a draw to go do something else with.
Right.
But, the draw is only to pay for the work that was done.
I don't charge a prepayment penalty. What I do is I want to keep my money working, so I'll typically write like a 6-month term. And what I ask is if you're gonna prepay me, give me a 60-day written notice that you're gonna have the loan paid off on this date. And if you surpass that date, then we got another issue. I got clauses. We're handling that. So I try to stay away from prepayment penalties. Just it's a communication all the time. Tell me when you're gonna pay me so that I can, either you're gonna bring me the next deal, someone else is bringing me the next deal. And that's because if you give me, I know I'm just about done. I'll be paying you in 2 months. And then you don't, well, I'm committing to other borrowers that I've got money coming in and you won't get another loan from me.
So we're just about 8, so we'll.
Gabe had one
wrap it up.
question. Go ahead, Gabe, I'll put you on the spot.
Thank you, appreciate it. So we've been talking all night about, structure and deal and everything like that, but the thing is, you guys touched upon it, and I want to go backwards for 1 second. You guys touched upon the properties, Rochester, New York, the types of properties, fix and flips, buy and holds, rhinos, all that stuff. Question of the day is, are you able to do, and I think Mark, you did one on our deals, but I just want everybody to hear this though, to make sure though, self-storage outside of
Yeah.
New York State.
Yeah.
Self-storage is,
Yeah. And
in other states.
yeah, and when we do that, we because you'll have an attorney that's in that state.
Yeah.
But what we'll do is we'll bring in Steve as a consulting attorney, okay? And they the borrower pays for that. Pardon?
I think you guys did with the Arkansas one, right? Or-
Yeah, we did that with the Arkansas one, yeah. Alabama,
Alabama.
yeah, that's still out there, yeah. And so we typically our area is Monroe County.
But we'll be able to put. So like I got one in Tennessee, if I want to look into that one, if I want to take it on, you guys will.
Yeah.
Hopefully build me and Scott.
Yeah. A lot depends on the borrower, like if you have expertise, like you guys got expertise in the storage area, in the area, so we're comfortable with lending money out in Alabama, okay? If it was somebody else in here, we wouldn't be comfortable because they don't have the same expertise as you do. Just like I have some properties I lend money out in Syracuse. Why? Because those people are out there and that's their main market. So I lend money out into Syracuse, but I'm not going to lend somebody money to do a project out in Syracuse that lives in Brockport that doesn't know that area. They just happen to be on this and it's way out of their way. Okay. So to me, location is more about where the lender has the expertise in rather than areas.
So we can build a market.
Exactly. That's why we also lend money. We got probably 4 deals now in the hood because the guys that are doing that in the hood are experts in doing deals in the hood. Okay.
So one thing that hasn't been brought up yet, does anybody at this panel take second position on a note?
No.
There it is. All right. They will never take second position to something else. If you don't know what a person's second position is, who wants to take it?
You always want to be the first mortgage holder. The first mortgage holder means that you're ahead of everyone other than taxes. If you need to foreclose, nobody gets paid off before you get paid off. A second mortgage holder stands behind the first mortgage holder. So you borrow $100,000 on your first mortgage and then the hard money lender lends you 50 and they need to foreclose on the 50. They have to pay off the 100. They have to take over the 100 to get their 50 back. You never want to be in that position. You also need, if you're a hard money lender or if you're selling a house and taking back a mortgage, whatever, you need to make sure the taxes are paid. I have had numerous times where people lost their mortgage because they weren't making sure that the owners were paying off the taxes. Property got foreclosed and the mortgage holders get wiped out.
But for what it's worth, very rare to get things.
Really?
I did it once.
It's rare.
Listen to the lawyer, don't listen to the other. All right, so, we got like 5 minutes until 8.
For a non-conforming no, what's the average legal fee?
Thousands now.
5.
I'd say 5. I'd say a good solid 5.
Okay, so does I know deed in lieu, does deed in lieu hold any power anymore?
And